Join us Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern as Sarah Phillips joins us for a live interview.
Welcome back, everybody. Here for another live stream. It's your boy Jared T123. We're here with Sarah Phillips today. I'm super excited for this. I have low-key been telling people, Sarah, that you are one of the funniest people I've seen in Web3. So I'm super excited for this. How you feeling right now?
Thank you. I'm good. I'm doing well. Today's a good day so far. So how are you?
I'm good. You can't complain. I got my wife out of here just in time to go get my daughter from school. So we won't be interrupted by my wife nagging me, anything like that. So we have a lot to talk about. So I'm super excited to have you. Definitely going to get into the song. I want to address you on TikTok and Instagram is absolutely hilarious. And I really, really want to encourage anybody to go look you up. Is how we find you. You have some different handles, right? On some different places.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. My Instagram and TikTok are the same. It's Sarah Phillips, ITS, and then Sarah with no H, Phillips. So those are the same on both TikTok and Instagram. And then my Twitter has an underscore. We're working on it.
Yeah. Look, I know how it goes. There's a guy that's just Jared on Twitter, and like I've like pinged that guy like a million times, like, hey man, I will buy just Jared off of you. But
I know Sarah Phillips on Twitter is not even like an active account, and I don't know how to do it. But well.
It's all good. So, and I was talking to Jade about this beforehand. Probably the most important question of this entire interview. We definitely have to address your love of warm orange juice. It's disturbing.
I love warm orange juice. I heat it up in the microwave. I think it tastes better that way.
Whoa! You warm it up. It's not like you just like leave it out. Like you like heat it. Like you have like hot orange juice.
Oh yeah, hot orange juice. Yeah.
Oh my!
I also do it like less frequently, but I do it with like all juice, like cranberry juice, grapefruit juice. I grew up in a really cold climate, and so I think I just like always liked to be drinking something warm. Like I'm a big tea person. Yeah, I don't know. There's really no excuse for it, but it's a habit that I haven't broken.
I'm a little concerned that you might be a serial killer, but it's okay. Like it happens.
Honestly, to be determined.
I've got axes and knives and things like that. No big deal.
How many people makes it cereal?
3? Is it 3? I think 2. It's like, oh, you dabbled a little bit, and then like 3, you're like, oh no, what have you done?
So no, I'm not.
Okay, so cool. We're under the 3 threshold.
Yeah,
I can live with that.
As of today.
Curious too. So now that we're on the theme of like warm foods that probably shouldn't be warm, tips?
Yes. Warm cheesecake tips.
Warm cheesecake. Like, how do you feel about that?
I think that's horrible.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I don't think there's any saving him. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's not. It's gonna melt.
At a certain point, it's like it turns into like a different dessert. It's not a cheesecake anymore, right?
Does he warm it up, or does he just like leave it in his car?
I don't know. Either way, it's gross.
Either way. Sorry, tips.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
Do you eat anything weird?
I probably do. I'm trying to think about it right now. I don't know. No, I'm probably pretty normal. So like I'm pretty adventurous with food. Like I'll eat like just about any kind of food, like anything from like escargot. So like my daughter who's 6, like is like super adventurous with food. So like she's like had escargot. She likes oysters.
That's great.
And yeah. So she's got a friend that lives across the street who has a pet snail, and she told him that she tried escargot. She was like, devil. She's like, I ate a snail, and he's like, scared of her now.
He's your friend's pet.
Yeah, no big deal. We'll get back into some other things, but I do want to talk about Killer. I like the song. I think one of the things you did really, really well with it is, and I would encourage anybody to go check this out for the song Killer. If you haven't seen the video is a lot of fun. I'm interested to know about how that concept came to be, and then like it looked like you were just having fun on there, right?
Yeah, that was like the most fun I've had. A lot of my music is like kind of serious and a bit sad or whatever. But and this song isn't like the most upbeat pop song, but the video was definitely the most fun I've had shooting a video. How did that concept come? A lot of times when I'm like writing the song, I'm like writing the video at the same time. Like that's kind of how I think in lyrics and melody and stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it would be funny. I knew I like wanted, I don't know, without giving too much away, I guess if people haven't seen it, but I knew I wanted like a fake human in the video. And that, yeah, that he would end up dead. So.
Well, it's okay. We can go ahead and say it. So I like that you settled on, it sounds bad when I say it out loud, the blow up doll version. But how did you settle on like a blow up doll versus the mannequin? I assume it was just kind of ease of access.
Yeah, I was just once I was thinking about like baking the cake and like poisoning him. I didn't know how I was gonna kill the mannequin without it being like too gross or like too realistic. I didn't want to actually make people think I kill people. But yeah, so I wanted it to just be like super not realistic. And then I was just, I mean, my Amazon searches must be horrible. Like I was like blow up doll, and then I made a puzzle with like his face on it. And so when I was like getting that printed at CVS, and I'm sure the woman was like, you know, they have to like check what you print. And she's like, "This is yours?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like, don't worry about it. It's for a video."
She's like, "Yeah, I bet." Mm-hmm.
I know. But yeah, it was super fun. It was super fun to shoot.
I was gonna say that makes it even more fun. I was a little concerned about you dancing around with the knife, right? Like you were getting after it with the knife in your hand. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's not like a small knife.
No one was hurt. Nobody was hurt in the making of that video.
Just the blow up doll.
Just the blow up doll.
Like you said, so your music is like very personal. I feel like I've listened to at least everything on Web3 side of things. How much of that, like, you know, I always when I speak to artists about it, like I'm curious about like how much of that is it like 100% truth what comes in there, or is it kind of like the Hollywoodized thing, like where you take some creative liberties when you're telling the story?
For the most part, it's like it's all truth, just because that's kind of how I started writing as a songwriter, and that's kind of when I feel most inspired, is when I'm just like telling the exact story. Obviously, like I have changed a few times. I've changed, you know, I guess locations, or I've changed a word if it fits better, but it's all based on true stories, and not always my own life. Like I've written about like a friend's experience, or you know, I've tried to write like from the perspective of someone else in a relationship with me. So it's all like, yeah, it's all based in reality for sure.
Yeah, no, I love it, and then it comes out, and it's. I think that's part of why you see such a warm reception around everything that you do. Is it comes off very authentic and very vulnerable and whatnot. And
thank you.
I don't know that. I think part of the best part about it is it's vulnerable without like intentionally like being like, "Hey, look at me," like that type of thing. So like I think it comes out really well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So I'm curious, what is your husband's favorite song of yours?
So that's a good question. He actually produces a lot of. He's one of the producers on a lot of my music. So it's funny. It was always funny, especially when we first met. When I was writing all these like breakup songs, and he was like working on them, and they're like sad, like crying about my ex songs. And I'll still write breakup songs even when I'm not going. I love a breakup song. But I don't know what his favorite is. I would guess like Nobody Loves You, or maybe Rich and Famous. Just because he's very like he's a production guy. Like he likes you know, drums and 808s, and I'm like very lyric focused. So different songs like mean kind of more to me than others. But yeah, I would probably say one of those would be his answer, just because they're a little more fun in the production, and less kind of like singer-songwriter, like stripped down, you know.
Yeah.
So he has fun when he can just like do whatever on the song. Because sometimes I'm like, no, don't touch it, or take this off, or I'm like a crazy person about it. But
I think that's fun, and for what it's worth, I think that the two of you, like, if you guys did like a 5 question thing or a 10 questions thing, where like you were guessing his or he was guessing your like favorites or least favorites, that type of thing. Like, I always think of like the Nipsey and Lauren London one when he's
yeah,
sitting there trying to guess her answers.
yeah, that would be an interesting. That's a good idea. It's a good content idea.
Speaking of, before this, so admittedly, I was creeping. I was watching, like your socials and stuff like that. Don't hold it against me. What are you in the mood for, like, content right now, like as a creator of content, like, and most of your shit is like super funny. So like, I want everyone to keep that in mind. Again, very strong encouraged to go check out Sarah's content.
Thanks. I love to laugh and I love to like make people laugh. So that's always that's been my personality since I was a kid. And then I kind of, as of like more recently, I guess the last couple years have been making more content that's that way, because I felt like this weird, a lot of my music is more serious, like I said, and like not funny, not like, it's just, so I kind of felt like I wasn't expressing my like full personality, and I'm like, I'm so not serious. Like, anyone who knows me is, I'm like the most, like, I love a good time and I'll like be way too silly. So I wanted like an outlet for that, because I would say it's like most of my personality. I think I write the sad stuff and get that out that way so that the rest can just be like jokes. So I think like lately I've just been creating more of that kind of content. And it's fun to be able to do both, like not always have to be putting out music content if that's not what I'm feeling, or so I like to just like be silly and make people laugh.
And you're excellent at it. I would highly suggest anybody maybe looking to casting you for some rom-coms, like that might work really well.
I'd love to act some more. But
have you acted?
Not like traditionally, no. But I always wanted to. Like, I always like it. It's on my list to do something.
It's a lot of fun. I would recommend it. I've done some.
Yeah, have you?
I have, yeah.
That's so cool.
So I have a really, really small claim to fame. So I'm here in Atlanta, and on season 2 of Atlanta, I was one of the extras. And when you're an extra, like, you have no idea, like, if you're gonna show up.
Yeah.
And in one of the scenes, like, I'm sitting like right behind Donald Glover, just chiefing hookah, like going ham. Like,
that's so cool.
Yeah. So everyone's like, "Oh, it's so big," and I'm like, "It's completely negligible," but I'm on screen for like 15 minutes.
It's so cool. Yeah.
So when it comes to like the Web3 side of things, like, I see you all over the place. Like, you're definitely a sound vet at this point. Like, you've had 8 drops. What's been your experience like? And you're in the spaces, like, let me not just make it sound like it's just sound. Like, I see you all over. What's been the whole Web3 experience like? And like, what are some of the pros and cons that you would pass on to somebody that maybe is less seasoned at this point?
My experience so far has been really great. I started about a little over a year ago. Or I should say, I got into crypto and NFTs like a year and a half ago, but I dropped my first NFT on Zora like about a year ago, and I didn't sell my first NFT like for months. Like, I didn't sell that till April. So I think like one thing that people are kind of getting a bit caught up in right now is like the immediate like sellout, and if things don't move quickly, it's like a failure or whatever. But like I don't believe in that at all. Like, I don't really feel the pressure ever when I'm dropping something. Like, I always think that the right person who I want collecting my music and being a fan of my music is going to come along. I want the people who are collecting my music to actually enjoy it and to want to invest even their time in me. Like, I want them to be fans for forever if that's possible. So I don't think I think that's one thing I would say is just like go easy on yourself, because there's like it's so fast moving, and you see, you know, a lot of like the vets and stuff kind of selling out right away or moving these like huge numbers. And first of all, the space has changed so much since since a lot of those kind of like big successes were happening, and we're seeing like every day it changes. So I would say just give yourself some grace if you're coming into the space. Try not to get overwhelmed and kind of like caught up in that. You'll find the right collector, I think, and that could take a year. You know, some people it takes a week, some people it takes 2 years. But it's still so early, and more and more people are coming into the space every day. Like people are gonna find your stuff, and they're gonna love it. They're gonna relate to it. You know, like somebody is. That's what I think. I think there's no art that exists that it doesn't speak to someone in some way. You know. But yeah, my experience has been good so far. Yeah, I've kind of just been playing around with every platform I can. I've done some drops on Glass XYZ, so some music video drops. I love music videos, so that's a cool platform for that. I love Catalog. Sound has been good. But yeah, advice I would give, just kind of find your community and join spaces, see who you like to listen to, and who's doing things that inspire you. There's kind of there's so many different kind of groups in this space. So, you know, I was really lucky. I love Future Surf Radio. That community is incredible and like so supportive. They do shows Monday, Wednesday night. And yeah, just a lot of like builders in the space. So just play around with it. Find who you like and who's doing things that you're interested in, and like reach out to people. I feel like it's a very like Web 2 thing to be like, no, I don't want to ask for help, or I don't want to like ask that person like how they did this, or, you know. But my experience so far and who I try to be now with other people is like, I'll give you any info I can, and I'll like help in any way that I can. And that's a lot, because when I came into the space, people were like that with me, you know, like people really helped me so much. Latasha was like incredible to me. Domino, who makes really dope music, he like sent me the ETH to mint my first NFT, you know, like all these people who just kind of didn't have to help me but did. So I think there's a lot of those people in the space. So don't get discouraged if you meet one or two who aren't like that. But I think that's the advice I would give.
No, I love that. And I think you're accurate when you say that, like, you know, make your art, and even if it's not collected, it's it'll resonate somewhere, right? As long as you're true to yourself with what you're creating, you're making what you want to make, somebody will eventually feel it and hear your story or hear the story of that. And I think that'll be, like I said, I think that'll resonate. I had to touch on you being a fan of Future Surf. I'm also a fan of Future Surf. I love Cam, June, and Scala, and Charm, and everybody over there. And I can't name everybody, but I do have to bring up, it appears that there's a beef with Scala. And, you know, look, I don't want to have to pick sides. Like, I feel like
let's say you had to pick sides.
Well, just because I know you're super handy with a knife and even like dancing with a knife, like
you've seen what I can do with a knife.
Yeah, I want to avoid that smoke. How did that come to be? And I love little fun things like this, and I love people playing around. What's the story behind that?
There's no great story. I'm a troll, and I love Scala, and I pick on people that I love. It's probably something I should work on.
No, I just if you know they can take it, you're good.
I don't even know. One Future Surf, we were messing around and talking about that, and I asked everyone who they thought would win in a fight, and we got some mixed reviews. And so I put up a poll on Twitter, and the Twitter poll said I would win, and
overwhelmingly.
I put it as my cover photo on Twitter, and I haven't changed it. That was a couple months ago, but at least I didn't admit the poll, you know.
Well, that's the best part, is like, not only did you win the poll, but like now it's your Twitter banner, like, bro, you lost. Like,
committed to the trolling.
No, I'm that way too. I'm that
I
way
always
too.
think of like people who like have no, like who don't know any, obviously like, you know, the people at Future Serve, you know, it's Gala, but sometimes I'm like, if anyone just comes to my page randomly and like sees, I wonder what, it's just so random if it's out of context, but
I love it. I love it though. But stuff like that's fun, and I think that's what makes, uh, honestly, it's what makes people tune in. Things like that. So curious, have you ever done? So obviously we do these live streams here. I've done like a million bajillion spaces, as I'm sure you have too. Have you ever thought about doing like maybe like a parody type of spaces?
no, but that would be really funny.
Yeah.
We should do
Where,
that.
yeah, whether it's improv or like lightly scripted, like I think,
We should discuss because that could be really funny.
yeah. Well,
Also,
and
like
it's,
a nice break from traditional spaces.
so I sent you that TikTok beforehand, and if anybody hasn't seen it, there's a TikTok out.
Max.
Yeah, and it's very well executed. It's a video of Drake. He takes a little bit of creative liberties to assume what is being done off camera with Drake. Um, I feel like that's right up your alley. But that's a friend of yours. That
Yeah. I met him through a girlfriend of mine, but he's hilarious. If anyone is looking, like his Instagram and his Twitter, um, all like he has 100 others of those that are like just so funny. Max Goodrich, yeah, he's so funny.
So speaking of, you actually have some texts that I've seen with the Six God himself. Some
So
Taylor
embarrassing.
Swift texts in there, like speak on those. That's
Adam
not that's
Levine in the DMs. What do you say?
I said it's not a small thing. Speak on those.
You know, I can't help who's a fan of my music, and it turns out Drake and Taylor Swift listen to Killer in their free time. So
Yeah.
very blessed.
I found it interesting that Drake's a Cheesecake Factory fan. I wouldn't have at all. I'm curious about what you're working on right now musically. What do you got in the bag?
I am working on a full-length album for people who still listen to albums. Yeah, my goal this year was to do a full-length project. So that is in the works. I have a number of songs finished for that, and then a number that I'm still working on. But yeah, that's kind of like priority number one, which I'm super, super excited about. I love, I think we've obviously like gotten so far away from kind of album culture because of like streaming and Spotify, and it's hard because even like as independent artists, any artist, but when you do put anything out on Spotify, if you are putting like a multi-song project, you can only pitch one of the songs. So for playlisting and stuff, and to get your music out there, it's kind of a wash. Like you end up kind of throwing away the other songs that are on the project. So what a lot of people have been doing is just dropping like single, and then an album with a few more songs, which is probably the route I'll go. So there'll be a number of singles coming in the next few months. But I do still love like the idea of like a cohesive, like full length body of work that kind of like tells a story, and that you're meant to listen to in order. And that's how I really like to listen to music. Anytime an artist that I like drops something, I like listen to it the way it's meant to be listened to and the way they put it together. So that's a big goal of mine. Obviously there's going to be a lot of Web3 stuff surrounding that coming. But yeah, I'm just excited. I feel like very inspired creatively. And that's not always the case. So I'm just trying to capitalize on that, I guess.
Yeah, strike while the iron's hot type of
Yeah.
thing. Do you have like a rough date? Like, are you aiming for Q2, Q3? Like, what do you have where you're aiming for?
Yeah, it's looking like it'll be Q3.
Okay.
Yeah, Q2 would be nice, but there's just a lot of things that I want to do with it. So I think realistically it'll be like early Q3.
Awesome.
There'll be more music videos. I'm very excited to shoot. and some fun songs. So yeah.
All right, get some bops in there. I'm with that for sure. One of the other things I wanted to talk to you about is you had addressed in one of your socials that how you like to read, and I'm a big reader. My daughter and I, we read a lot together too. What are you reading right now?
What am I reading?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm super into like fiction, like crime thriller. So I'm like such a big crime head. I just finished Colleen Hoover's book. It's called Verity. It was really good. I'm actually listening to, at the moment, I'm not reading anything, but I'm finishing a podcast that's called The Teacher's Pet. So I'm also like very into podcasts. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna. When I posted that video, I got a bunch of recommendations. So the next book I'll probably choose from there. What are you reading? Are you reading something at the moment?
I'm about to finish up the Rick Rubin book.
I just bought that. It just came from Amazon. Is it good?
So I like it. So at first, when it started out, I would say the first few chapters for me, I was like, yeah, whatever. But as I've gotten further into it, I was like, oh, that's really good. And I know it is for, like creative aspects, whether that's art or music specifically, but I actually find that there's a lot of it that looks like it'll be able to be used really just about anywhere.
Whoever you are, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm excited to read it. Yeah, I just bought it.
I like that. I'm into like historical fiction if it's done well.
Cool.
So one of the ones that I always tell everybody that you should check out if you like that kind of genre is Last Days of Night.
Last Days of Night.
Yeah, and it's a story about like right when the country was like being electrified, if you will. So like when electricity was becoming a thing in like 1890-ish.
Yeah.
And it's like a story about like Edison versus Westinghouse, and there's like the lawyer that goes between the two, and there's like a love story in there. But anyway, really interesting stuff. Learned a lot, and it's a really well written story, and it's
That's cool.
Like timeline, but it's a really good book. Yeah,
I'll check it out. I don't read a ton of historical fiction, but not for any reason. So I should branch out from my murder mystery. I also love like memoirs and like any like autobiographical kind of thing is like definitely up my alley.
for sure.
But yeah.
So one other thing that I got for you, and we'll wrap it up here pretty shortly. Who are you listening to in Web3 right now, and who are you listening to non-Web3 right now?
Ooh, good questions. Web3, I'm listening to so many people in Web3. I have like just Web3 playlists. Cam, Miles Ryan Harris, June, Scala, Charm, Isidore Noir, Black Orchid is really cool.
I love her. Yeah.
I love. I've been loving Kevin George and Daniel Allen's Ball song. I think it's like so fun, and it always puts me in a good mood. I know I'm forgetting people, and I'm gonna feel guilty the rest of the week for it. But yeah, I'll probably maybe I should just share my Web3 playlist. Who am I listening to in Web2 or traditional music? I go back and forth from listening to like new stuff and just like old stuff that I really love.
What's old stuff?
I really like the group, not old, but I really like the group Daughter, and like Counting Crows, Damien Rice, I'm a huge fan of. I don't know if you know, these are all kind of obscure. And then I really like Taylor Swift. But what'd you say?
That's why she texts you, of course.
That's why she texts. Yeah, we're great friends. I got tickets for August for the tour. Ticketmaster didn't get me. Who else am I listening to? Lizzie McAlpin is a really beautiful singer-songwriter. I don't know why it's so hard for me to think of any artist at all. Yeah, those are kind of my.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I'm just
I really like a lot of like obscure kind of like singer-songwriters that I feel like people don't know. There's also a bunch of like Canadian bands that I'm a huge fan of. I don't know if you know like Our Lady Peace.
It sounds familiar.
Big Canadian band. Tegan and Sarah at Paramore. Really big fans of them. And then I also like a lot of hip hop and like Drake. Although I'm not a biggest fan anymore.
Yeah, mixed bag there. Curious because you said you like, you're exploring an album yourself and you like the journey on it, and it's just kind of a recency bias for me. Did you get into the Lil Yachty at all?
Yeah, I like Lil Yachty a lot. I think his project is so good.
I loved it. It was a pleasant surprise. Not that I thought he was like incapable. I just wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. No, I think he's super underrated still. But it seems like this album's getting like more and more traction. Oh, I like the SZA project. Her album was great. I really like Lil Durk. I listen to a lot of Lil Durk. There's a dope Chicago rapper, Rocky Fresh. I'm a big fan of his stuff. He's a friend.
We got to get you on some of the Atlanta stuff. I'm just
put me on. I'd love to send you music, so please do.
Between me and Jamie, we'll get you covered.
Please.
Sure. So,
do you have a favorite artist?
Like of all time, it's probably Outkast.
Ooh.
Like I'm a huge Andre 3000 fan. So
yeah,
it's
I love Andre.
Like Outkast. I love Nipsey. Like I probably listen to Nipsey like every day.
Yeah, love Nip.
I could probably name a lot of people, but sorry. And I know I told you I was going to wrap it up, but I always have one that I always forget to ask. When you're a kid, right, and you're listening, like, and you're at home, whether that's with a caretaker, a parent, a sibling, whoever it may be, I find that usually like you're exposed to some kind of music, whether it's one song or one album that you can go back and you can reference all the time, and just in and out, and because somebody just played it over and over again and again. And I'll give you mine. Mine is my mom used to play the old Mariah Carey tape.
No way.
Someday, I know front to back, side to side, and I haven't heard that song, and I hate it. I hate that
I'm
old
sure.
tape. But I'm curious if you have one.
I do. I stole from my sister's room that I was not allowed to go into under any circumstance. I took the Alanis Morissette Jagged Little Pill album, and honestly, like probably why I ever thought I want to do music was because of that album. Because before then, I had only kind of heard radio stuff because I was a kid, like I heard music when I was in the car and then like, on my little like CD player or whatever. But it was all kind of like pop. It was like Britney, which was great, but it wasn't like I knew I didn't sound like any, or like I wasn't going to be like that kind of artist. So yeah, Jagged Little Pill I listened to and I was like, whoa, this is so like different and cool and like edgy, and she doesn't give a fuck, and like I love that. But at that album, like front to back, I know, and it always kind of like brings me back to that, to that time.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's usually people can transport. Like I ran into a few people that grew up with like DJs in the family, and they're like, nah, it's like everything. But
yeah,
barring that, like usually like there's one example that someone can.
That's a good question. I like that.
That's the one. But look, I appreciate your time. I want to encourage everybody to go check out Sarah's song Killer. If you have not heard it already, you can go check it out. You can check it out on Sound. You can check out the video. The pre-sale is live now. For everybody else, it will be available starting tomorrow. And it's open edition. How many days are we going for?
It's a 3-day open edition.
Perfect. You got plenty of time to collect. Sarah didn't go crazy with the price point of 2 ETH, not hitting you over the head for anything. Again, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate the time. And I want to leave the floor to you if you want to plug anything or tell anybody where to find you, anything like that. Now is your time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for having me, by the way. This is so fun. But yeah, my sound drop, you can all, if you're not a previous collector of mine, you can all collect it starting tomorrow for 3 days. Yeah, come find me anywhere on Twitter, Sarah_J Phillips, on TikTok and Instagram if you like to laugh. It's Sarah Phillips. I have all my music is out on Spotify and Apple Music and all those good places. And yeah, come say hi. Or if you're trying to get into Web3 and NFTs and all that stuff, reach out to me and let's be friends.
I love it. I love it. Catch me outside.
Catch me outside.
Thank you again, Sarah, and thank you for everybody tuning in now or after the fact. Please reach out to either us or Sarah, and we'll be happy to help you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.